For me, there are three reasons for becoming a writer. The first is that you have an overpowering urge to tell a story. The second, that you have information of a unique story waiting to come out. And third, which you learn in the process of becoming, is that you consider the whole project worth the considerable trouble. I have sometimes called it terms of imprisonment. You will have to endure to bring it to fruition.
Were you born a writer?
Yes, I think so. I think so because I don't remember any day that anybody said to me, you go and start writing or go and learn about writing. It was there. And I don't remember ever being offended because I was reading a story or I was hearing a story.
Chinua Achebe was in his mid-20s when he wrote his first novel, Things Fall Apart, which is widely regarded as a masterpiece. Set in the early 1900s, the book tells of the downfall of a prosperous farmer as colonial powers take over his country. Since its publication in 1958, the book has sold 10 million copies and has been translated into 50 languages, making Achebe one of the most successful African authors of all time. Did you have any idea how important that book would become when you were writing it?
I had absolutely no idea. I had nothing even approaching an idea about it. I simply had this strong feeling that there was a story waiting to be told.
How did life change for you after the publication of Things Fall Apart?
I became famous. I had no idea about fame and things like that, quite frankly. And I had no idea what the success of a book meant. I'd only written one book at that point. So everything that happened to it was the first to me.
That was 51 years ago. More books followed, including No Longer at Ease and Arrow of God. Achebe married, eventually had 4 children, and watched his career flourish. But things fell apart in 1967 when Nigeria exploded into a bloody 3-year-long civil war. His region of the country, Biafra, was fighting to secede. He was fighting to stay alive. During the Biafra War, your home was bombed. Several of your friends were killed.
Yes. Yeah, and some soldiers went to my office and said they wanted this man, Achebe. We hear his pen is very strong. We want to compare it with our guns. Yeah. And the reason was that I wrote a book which ended with a military coup for the first time in Nigeria. And 2 days after the book was published in London, there was a military coup in Nigeria.
Well, it was just a coincidence.
Of course.
But people thought that you may have been involved in some way.
I was the organizer of the coup. And there was no point telling them that a novel takes about 2 years to write. Therefore, if I was planning a coup, I wouldn't write a novel. That wouldn't be my procedure. But those fellows were not the kind of people you would make jokes with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the best thing is to take your children, 2 children then, and run away. And so I went into hiding.
That novel, A Man of the People, was published in 1966. After the war began, Achebe became a spokesman for his people and an enemy of the ruling military. It took a toll. But how do you create under duress? How do you write when you're living in fear for your life?
It's difficult, and the kind of writing you do would be different. I can't tell any more than that, but it would have to be different. And yeah, you're almost always on your toes.
Mm-hmm. I understand that you were writing a lot of poetry during that period.
And short stories, yes.
Is that
yes.
because you don't really have time to sit around and ruminate? You have to keep moving.
Exactly.
3 million people died during that war.
Yeah.
It's probably the darkest period in Nigerian history.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Not, no doubt at all. And in fact, while it was going on, it was described as the worst civil war in history. In the act of making
it would not be the last time Achebe escaped death. In 1990, a car accident in Nigeria left him paralyzed from the waist down.
It's tough to go through that experience. And it's tough to even attempt to analyze things that are so deep. Mm-hmm. But at least I think I can say that I've had the stability of my family.
There's a part of you that still wants that one Nobel Prize. You can tell me. Come on.
No, no. No, I won't tell you.